Hello everybody, welcome back to our Christmas short story collection series from the Clark Heller Collection. Tonight we're going to be reading Merry Christmas God, and this one's on page 177. If you have the book, you can follow along with us. We're going to just hit most of the highlights. If you are just a little boy or girl and you cannot read yet, maybe your mom or dad can read this to you, or even better yet, Grandma. Ooh. Okay. Well, here we go. This is entitled Merry Christmas God, and it takes place at a shopping mall on Christmas Eve. Let me introduce my helper to you. I don't know if you've seen her yet. This is, of course, Ivy. Put the camera on her. Ivy, you want to say hi to everybody? Say, hello. She's a little bit shy tonight. She's very, very shy. She just had dinner and I think she's just ready for a Christmas nap. Okay, here we go. It was Christmas Eve and all the shops were closing up early so that the employees could go home. That is, everyone but Jackson. He was the assistant manager at the Kendleton shoe store at the mall, where they had just experienced their biggest sales day of the year, because it was Christmas Eve, of course. What a hectic day. While all 6 salesmen were allowed to leave at 10 o'clock, Jackson had to close up, clean up, and have all the books ready and in order for the big after Christmas sale tomorrow, of course. What a bummer. Jackson was a senior at the university and was working his way through college. One reason that his boss favored him was since he had no family living nearby and didn't seem to particularly care about the holidays anyway. Hey, he was drafted to do all of this work on Christmas Eve when everybody else wanted to be home with their families. It isn't easy to try to make it on your own. Jackson knew all about this. He didn't come from a wealthy family, and all his life he had to struggle. There were 5 children in his Oklahoma family, and since his father died, it had been really rough. All the other brothers and sisters were working either full or part-time, but none had ever been to college. There was never the money. If Jackson received his degree, this would be the first in his family, and this would fulfill a lifelong dream of his very hard-working mother, whom he loved so much, but he hadn't seen in a long time. This semester had been the toughest yet for Jackson. With a class load of 18 hours full-time, a senior research project, and working 35 hours a week, he had 0 time for fun and absolutely 0 time for any social life at all. Anyway, he thought to himself, just 1 more semester and it'll be smooth sailing. I'll give to my mom a degree in business administration, and she'll see it and she'll be so proud. And then maybe I can get a good job in Tulsa or Oklahoma City. Yes, that was his plan. The Center Mall clock pounded away. Boom, 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 boom. 11 o'clock dolefully, as only the janitors and crew were left sweeping and gathering up the excessive amount of litter which seems to come naturally with the holiday season. The mall was a mess. Boys and girls, it was a mess. Remember how your room is after Christmas and the living room after Christmas? Oh, yes. Well, the mall is even worse. And then out popped Marcy. "Good night, Jackson, and Merry Christmas," came a familiar voice of Marcy, one of the sales girls. She disappeared on the side door. "And don't forget the all-dorm party at school. It's going to be very cool." "Oh, sure, Marcy, but I doubt it," he muttered under his voice as he suddenly noticed her while he was busy counting the day's receipts. "And you two, Merry whatever and all that." Jackson stumbled for words since his heart really wasn't into wishing a Merry anything to anybody. He was tired, hungry, and just wasn't in a festive mood. Have you ever been that way? Jackson had never been into the whole Christmas scene, not this year, well, actually, not any year. Even when he was a kid, it was rough trying to think about getting presents when his mom could barely put food on the table. In addition, his mother was an orphan as well, and so they really didn't have any grandparents to help them out at Christmas or to have a good time. So for Jackson, Christmas just really wasn't for him. Not at this time in his life, anyway. Marcy was well in her home and out of the parking lot when Jackson stood up to turn out the store lights on the shoe displays. He had been tallying up the receipts for the frantic night sales. Tennis shoes, Stacy's, high heels, low heels, casuals, formals, work shoes, play shoes, children's wear, and even Crocs. Not to mention all kind of crazy sandals. You name it, Jackson had it. Last week, while taking a final exam in economics, he suddenly found himself dozing off, and when he was awake, guess what he was doing? He found himself making a list of shoes on sale. Now that's pitiful. It was 11:15, and the last lights in the mall were fading away. Even Santa's winter wonderland looked dark and forlorn without the jingle of bells or the giggles and laughter of wide-eyed kids on Christmas Eve. Jackson took time out from his facts and figures to take one last look out into the mall. It looked like a gigantic darkened castle just waiting for the flip of a switch to come alive with music, colored lights, tinsel, and decorations all the way down this long, massive mall. But without the lights, it was dark and forbidding. This gives me the creeps, he thought. About that time, Joe Harris, mall security chief, walked over to the store entrance. "Hey, Jackson, you going to stay late tonight on Christmas Eve?" Looking up from his work, "Oh, yes, sir. Got to get ready for the big after-Christmas sale. You know how that goes," and he rolled his eyes. "I understand, buddy. Well, the cleaning crew is gone, and I'm going to lock up here tight and solid. You got your pass key, don't you?" "Oh, yes, it's right here," Jackson replied. "All right, then see you in a couple of days. Don't get so spooked here all alone. Everything is locked up and the alarms are all on. When you leave, just let down the metal gate here and leave by the service door, okay?" Yes, no problem, sir. It'll probably be quite a while." "Well, see ya and Merry Christmas," Joe said, as he was the last person to leave this huge mall. His keys jingling, the security guard lumbered off into the darkness. Yes, you too, Merry, Mr. Harris had already disappeared out the front door, still jingling his massive set of keys and humming, "Noel, Noel," as he meticulously locked the large double-glass door behind him and headed off to the parking lot. Jackson got up and walked out to shut the metal gate to the storefront. "So here we are, Santa." He ventured philosophically toward a large poster board figure of Santa. "Just you and me, old man. What do you say we call it a night and have a toast?" He held up an imaginary glass. He returned back to his work, adding up the mountains of tonight's enormous pile of receipts. "Sure has been a good day for all the stores in the mall," he thought to himself. Then out of the corner of the mall, something fell. What was that? What was that? All the janitors and everybody else had long gone. Nobody could possibly be in the building, Jackson thought. He stood up from the desk, slipped off his glasses, and walked cautiously into the main area of the silent, dark mall. The clock read 11:40. Stretching his back muscles, he moaned, "Oh, me. Woo. I'm going to be an old man before my time. I'm hearing things." And then there it was again. He heard a noise. He knows he's not crazy. He heard a noise. He knew that now he was not alone at the mall. Wheeling around, Jackson hid himself behind the back of the hot dog stand, heart pounding, remembering the predictions that holiday crime would be up this year. This can't be happening. Somebody's in here. They hid out until the mall was closed, and now they're going to kill me and rob the store. Maybe they didn't see me. His mind was swirling out of control. What is he going to do? Could he run? What if he would run? No, that wouldn't. I have the only key to the back door of the store, so that wouldn't work. What am I going to do? I'm trapped. Okay, the only rational thing to do, I've got an idea. Wait, I have an idea. If they're going to kill me, they're going to do it in the full view of all the passing cars. Because on the count of 3, I'm going to make this place light up like Grand Central Station. 1, 2, flip, 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 flip. He flipped all as he possibly could. With a quick jump to the switch box, Jackson caused the dark, cavernous mall to burst into a blaze of lights everywhere. Music came on briskly with "Deck the Halls with Boughs of Holly" as Santa Claus began to wave at the empty hallways. Even Frosty the Snowman excitedly began to dance with his famous song. Then out of nowhere, someone appeared. From behind the Santa and sleigh scene, Jackson almost had an attack. It dawned on him the figure was too small to be a man. My goodness, it was the figure of a boy. "Hey you," he ordered. "What are you doing here?" Slowly, a terrified little blonde boy about 12 emerged shyly from behind the manger scene, peering out between Joseph and one of the three wise men. "Hey, little guy, what on earth are you doing here?" Jackson began. Well, to make a long story short, it seems that both Jackson and the little kid were working late that night. The only thing is, the little kid was a thief. He was a very bad guy. "You'd be surprised how many people drop dollar bills here," he said, "when they're in a hurry during the shopping season. So I just wait and screw them up. I'm sorry. So you're a thief. That's a crime, you know, young man." Because Jackson was very scared. A what?" "A thief. That's a very bad person." "Oh, okay, yes. I guess I am. I'm sorry. I didn't know that they were going to shut the lights behind me, and I hid, and now I know I'm in a lot of trouble. I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry." Well, Jackson took another look at this little boy whose name turned out to be Hank and realized it appeared that he was telling the truth. And he asked, "Hank, is anyone else here hiding out? Are you all alone?" "Yes, sir, I'm all alone. I don't know anybody. I'm an orphan anyway. I escaped. And then he realized he shouldn't have said that. He said, "I had escaped from the orphanage." And he was telling that to an adult who was Jackson. He must be nuts. But you know, Jackson was very intelligent and he figured it out. He said, "You know, there's really something interesting about this situation. Here we are in the middle of this gigantic shopping mall on Christmas Eve." And he looked up at the clock. Make that almost Christmas Day now. Both of us are trying to make a buck. You're trying to steal, and I'm trying to make it on an honest living. But anyway, at least we're still both trying to make a living. And I want to talk to you about that. He says, "I can't go home because I can't afford it. And you tell me that you're supposed to be in a foster home, but they treat you so bad that you keep running away." Jackson thought a moment. What am I going to do? The little kid said, "You going to call the cops, sir? You going to call the cops?" No. Hold on. Let me think a moment. Well, not right now. Anyway, hold on. I'm very, very tired and very confused. All right, come over here. The boy jumped to the exact spot where Jackson was pointing. This impressed Jackson. Maybe the kid was a nice kid after all. "How much money did you steal tonight?" Tugging at both pant pockets, several dollars fell to the floor and he began counting. He said, $19. Okay, just keep it. Just keep it now. There's no way we can give it back anyway. A bewildered look overtook the nervous little boy as Hank obeyed his every instruction. "I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to scare you or hurt anyone. I didn't mean to get trapped in the mall tonight." And with that plea, he burst into tears. "I'm sorry. I want to find my real mother. I'm so tired of staying in these orphan homes. They don't treat me well. I'm sorry, sir. Please don't call the cops. Please don't let them take me back to that horrible place. Especially on Christmas Eve." Well, Hank began to think, and he had mercy on the little boy. He said, No, don't worry. I'm not going to call the cops, at least not right now. But if we don't turn out these lights, we're going to have every policeman in the city in here. So they went back over to the switch box, and they started flipping out the lights. And then all of a sudden, the little thief said, "Wait, sir, do we have to turn them all off? Can't we just leave one on? It's mighty dark in here while I go out, and I'm scared of the dark. My foster home is always dark. I hate it." Seeing the genuine hurt of the little boy's face, Jackson muttered, "I guess it would be all right. We could perhaps leave just one." Turning toward the switches, he says, "All right, Mr. Hank, the holiday thief, what will it be? I'll let you choose what light you want to have left on. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Santa, Frosty the Snowman, the elves, workshop, what do you want? And then there's the manger scene where I caught you. Or kind of like you caught me, but anyway." Jackson was feeling more composed now, certain that this little boy was no threat to anyone, especially him. He gently motioned for Hank to come over and stand by his side. He did more than that. Hank put his arm on the little boy. Hank put his arm around Jackson, but he pretended not to notice. It appeared that Hank, the little Christmas thief, needed a big brother. Hank, the little thief, slowly looked all around the mall because he had to decide which light to keep on. A million memories flashed through the mind of this little 12-year-old runaway, and he suddenly thought of his mother, his real mother. And he said, "The baby Jesus, the baby Jesus. That's the light that I want to stay on." What? Jackson couldn't believe that a little kid wanted a manger scene on. "Did you say the baby Jesus?" Yes, sir. That's the one I want to stay on." Okay. So with a flip of the switch, the two fellows suddenly began to gaze spellbound toward the manger scene with a tiny baby Jesus lying in a manger of hay as a soft but solid blue spotlight pierced through the darkness of the mall and gently, slowly descended down upon the face of the Christ child. The hush of the moment, which was truly beautiful, was accented by strains of "Silent Night, Holy Night," because carolers were coming very close by the mall singing with candles. And by now they were oblivious to what was happening in the mall because the mall, of course, all the lights were out except one. For more than a few minutes, these two stood in complete silence of this massive edifice with now just one blue light shining down, down, down on the face of the Christ child. Finally, slowly, Jackson was the first to speak. "Okay, sport, what are we going to do with you? You know I have to call the authorities eventually, don't you?" "Sadly, I guess, but I wish I could just stay with you for a while. We could just talk. I hated that foster home. Please don't take me back. Maybe just 30 minutes or an hour." "Well, maybe, let me think. I, the big executive and college student, might be able to invite you, the little executive independent businessman thief, out for a turkey sandwich and a giant cup of hot chocolate. I know a place that never closes, even on Christmas Eve." "I don't know what's come over me, but suddenly I'm in the mood to celebrate," offered Jackson to his new little buddy as he picked up some of his work from the desk now as they walked into the shoe store and said, "You know what? I can finish this early in the morning." Hank ran back to the manger scene and dug out a tattered jacket that he had left before he had hidden. And then as he turned, he told to Jackson, he said, "Hey, sir, Jackson, you better turn out that light." Jackson started towards the switch and then he suddenly stopped. And he said, "You know, I think I'll leave this one on and take our chances. It wouldn't be right it just wouldn't be Christmas without the Christ child, would it?" Hank replied, "I think you're right." The two walked off as if best buddies on towards the back door of the Kendleton shoe store. Faithfully, the mall clock struck the midnight hour. Bong, bong. Ladies and gentlemen, it was Christmas Day. Christmas has the strangest way of bringing people together, Jackson thought to himself as they walked out to the parking lot under the twinkling stars. It was really beautiful. Then while unlocking the car door for Hank, he was strangely drawn to look back towards the darkened mall. Out through the huge front center doors, the clear outline of that crystal blue beam of light still streamed down directly on the face of the Christ child. The sight was more than a bit mesmerizing and beautiful. And to this day, Hank, the little boy, who by the way is now Jackson's new foster son, still believes that he heard his foster father, Jackson, whisper something that night up in the sky. "Merry Christmas, God. Merry Christmas." I certainly hope that you have a wonderful Christmas also. Boys and girls, be sure to obey your mom and dad and have a wonderful, wonderful time celebrating the joy of this beautiful season. And if you're Jewish, happy Hanukkah. and all the other religions. We love all boys and girls of all races and religion and different ethnic groups from around the world. So Merry Christmas from our house. Let me see if I can wake up my assistant. Can you say Merry Christmas? Well, this is Ivy, and so from Ivy and me, we both want to wish you a very Merry Christmas. And don't forget this story, Merry Christmas, God. Bye-bye. Merry Christmas.